Ever Googled, will I ever find love? I mean, seriously, it's crazy how many people are out there searching for that, like the one.
It's a pretty common question, huh? Guess we all crave connection.
Yeah, like it's ingrained in us or something.
Yeah.
And that actually is what we're diving into today, this whole idea of finding love, but not just the surface stuff.
Right, we're going deep.
Exactly. We're unpacking this video from the Awaken Your Potential YouTube channel. And honestly, their take on love and how it connects to personal growth is pretty eye-opening.
Yeah, they ditch the whole fairy tale thing and show love as this powerful force that can, like, seriously change your life.
Okay, so straight off the bat, the video highlights that Google search, the will I ever find love?
Yeah.
And it proves how much we all want it. And the channel itself is all about, well, awakening your potential, becoming the best version of yourself, which to me ties in perfectly with the idea that understanding love is part of that journey.
Totally. And they don't just say go find love, they go into the science. Like, did you know love can activate those same neural pathways in your brain as addiction?
Wait, seriously? So love is like a drug?
Well, in a way, yeah. But here's the thing, and this is huge. When you understand it and nurture it, right? Love can be healing, Like
Yeah.
it helps you grow. It's not just this consuming thing that takes over.
That's a good point. I
Yeah.
mean, we hear so much about the downsides of love, the heartbreak, the obsession, but they're saying it can be a positive force if we approach it the right way.
Exactly. And they kind of tear down those fairy tale myths we've all been fed.
Yeah.
The idea that love should be easy, always perfect.
Oh, I know those stories. Waiting for Prince Charming and all that jazz.
Right. Well, this video says, hold up. Real love takes work, patience, and knowing yourself. It's not about finding this flawless soulmate. It's about choosing each other every day and growing together, even when it gets tough.
So more about building something real than finding some perfect match.
Exactly. And they highlight those pressures we face as single people, like those looks you get at weddings or when you're eating alone at a restaurant.
Oh, tell me about it.
Yeah.
It's like society saying being single is this problem that needs fixing.
Right. But being single has its own opportunities, Time for growth, figuring out who you are, what you truly want.
Love that. It's not waiting to be completed by someone, but becoming whole on your own. Okay, so let's talk types of love. The video breaks it down into 4. You've got romantic love, all that passion. Then there's platonic love, the steady support from friends.
Right. And then there's self-love, which is like the foundation for all the others. And then universal love, that big, all-encompassing kind.
Okay, so let's break them down. Romantic love. First, I think a lot of people get hung up on finding the one. But the video is saying it's not really about finding that perfect match. It's more about actively choosing each other, day after day, and growing as a couple.
It's beautiful, actually. It shows how important effort and compromise are, and that commitment to grow together both as individuals and as a couple.
So it's not about someone completing you, but about finding someone who pushes you to be better.
Exactly. And it highlights how personal growth helps you navigate any relationship. Because even if you find the right person, things won't always be easy.
True. You need strength and a willingness to work through things as individuals and together. Now, platonic love. That love you have of your friends. I feel like we don't always appreciate how powerful those bonds can be.
Definitely. And this video reminds us that those connections can be just as strong, if not stronger, than romantic ones. You get that sense of belonging, stability, unconditional support. Super important stuff.
That's like your chosen family, always there for you.
Which brings us to self-love, probably the most important one, right?
Absolutely. The foundation, the base for every other kind of love.
Mm-hmm.
And yet so many of us struggle with it.
Ugh, yeah, I know I have. But the video says self-love is crucial for all other forms of love. Respecting yourself, setting boundaries, taking care of yourself, all that.
And this is where the channel's whole personal transformation message comes in.
Yeah.
They're saying that loving others starts with loving yourself.
Right. Fill your own cup first. Then you have something to give to others. Which brings us to this cool point. Solitude versus loneliness. So many people fear being alone, but the video flips it and says solitude is a chance to really discover yourself. It's a shift in how we see it. Solitude isn't the enemy. It's a chance to grow, to connect with yourself, to build that self-love we were just talking about.
So instead of dreading being alone, we should embrace it, like a time to recharge and really get to know ourselves better.
Exactly. And tie that back to what the channel's all about. They're saying solitude helps you unlock your potential, become more complete.
It's like you can't give what you don't have. You need to fill yourself up first. And this brings us to, I think, the most powerful takeaway from the video. The love you attract reflects the love you give yourself. So if you're searching for love, the first step is looking inward.
Exactly. It's not about seeking validation from others. It's about building that deep love and respect for yourself first.
And that's something we can actually control, right? We don't have to wait for someone else to give us love. We can create it within ourselves.
That's incredibly empowering, isn't it? True love isn't about needing someone to complete you. It's about sharing your already complete self with another. And that all starts with you.
I love that. So it's not about waiting to be chosen. It's about choosing yourself first.
Mm.
Then, from that place of wholeness, you can build deeper, more fulfilling relationships with others.
You know, it's like the video is saying we can shift our whole mindset about love. Like, instead of looking for it, we can actually create it.
Yeah, that's a pretty powerful idea,
Yeah,
right? Like we're not just waiting around hoping to stumble upon it.
Yeah.
We have some control.
Totally. It's not about being passive. It's about taking charge.
Okay, so then how do we actually do that? How do we go from searching for love to like creating it? Is that even possible?
Well, the video keeps coming back to this idea of self-love, right? They're saying the love we attract is a reflection of the love we give ourselves. So it all starts there, internally.
Makes sense. But how do we actually build that? Like self-love sounds kind of abstract. What are some actual steps we can take?
Good question. And the video gives some solid advice. It starts with treating ourselves with kindness, compassion, the way we would treat someone we love, recognizing that we deserve love and making choices that are good for us.
So like setting boundaries, taking care of ourselves, all that jazz.
Exactly. It's about taking care of our whole selves, mentally, emotionally, physically. It's about challenging those negative thoughts we have and replacing them with positive ones, like actually accepting and loving ourselves.
Because if you're always putting yourself down, how can you expect to attract healthy relationships?
Totally. It's like they say you can't pour from an empty cup. You got to fill yourself up first.
Love that analogy.
Yeah.
And creating love isn't just about us, is it? It's about how we interact with others too, right?
Absolutely. When we have that self-love foundation, it kind of radiates outward. It touches everyone we meet.
So like, what does that look like day to day? How do we put that into practice?
Think simple stuff. Smiling at a stranger, really listening when a friend needs to vent, telling people you care about them.
So be more mindful, more intentional in how we interact with everyone.
Totally. It's about choosing to see the good in people, being understanding, and being generous. Really being present, listening, offering support.
We're so used to just going through the motions. But when we're actually aware, we can choose to connect with people in a more loving way.
And it creates this amazing cycle. The more love you put out there, the more you get back. It's like this positive feedback loop.
Okay, but real talk. Life isn't always easy. We're going to face tough times, heartbreak, disappointment. So how does this whole creating love thing work when things get rough?
That's a really good point. And the video talks about that love isn't always sunshine and rainbows. Sometimes it's messy, complicated, and yeah, it can hurt.
So how do we create love when we know it might bring pain?
I think it goes back to self-love. When you truly value yourself, you can handle those challenges without losing yourself. You can set boundaries, communicate your needs, and walk away from relationships that aren't right for you.
So self-love is like this protection, helping us stay true to ourselves even when things are hard.
Kind of, yeah. It helps us approach relationships from a place of strength, not neediness. We're not looking for someone to fill a hole inside us. We're already whole, and we're sharing that with another person.
That's such a beautiful way to put it.
Yeah.
And by building that inner strength, we're not only able to give and receive love better, but we're also stronger when things get tough.
Exactly. It's like acknowledging that love isn't always easy, but it's always worth it. And by taking care of ourselves, creating that strong, loving foundation within, we're setting ourselves up for a more fulfilling experience of love in all its forms.
Well said.
Yeah.
So for someone listening who maybe feels lost or confused about love, what's the first step? Where do they even begin?
The video and the channel in general are great places to start if you want to go deeper. They offer tools and strategies for personal growth, which, as we talked about, is super connected to our ability to build loving relationships.
I think the biggest takeaway is this shift in perspective. Instead of seeing love as something that just happens to us, we can see it as something we create.
Exactly. It's about taking control of our experience, recognizing that we have more power than we think to shape our lives, including our love lives.
And that's so freeing, right? We're not just victims of fate. We can choose love. We can create it. We can let it flow through our lives.
And that brings us to a key point. Being aware is so important for creating love. It's not enough to just want more love. We need to pay attention to our thoughts, our beliefs, our actions that might be blocking us from experiencing it.
So if we have those negative beliefs about ourselves or about love, It's going to affect our ability to find the kind of love we want.
You got it. It's like building a house on sand. Not going to be very stable. We need to look inside, figure out what's holding us back.
Like a mental and emotional spring cleaning, right?
Yeah.
Getting rid of the old junk that's not serving us anymore.
Yes. And we can create new stories that are more aligned with what we really want, stories about love and connection.
It's like we're the authors of our own love stories. We get to choose how they unfold. We're not just characters being pushed around by fate.
Exactly. And that choice starts with awareness, paying attention to our thoughts, feelings, behaviors, making choices that support our journey towards love and fulfillment.
So it's not just what we do, but how we do it, bringing intention and mindfulness into everything, especially when it comes to love.
Totally. It's about moving through life with purpose, being present, making choices that reflect our values and the kind of world we want to live in.
This is making so much sense now. It's not about passively wishing for love. It's about actively creating the conditions for it to grow. Doing that inner work to heal, challenge those old beliefs, build that self-love, and approaching our relationships with intention, awareness, and a willingness to grow.
Beautifully said. It's about embracing the journey, the ups and downs, and knowing we have the power to create a more meaningful experience for ourselves and those around us.
It's amazing, really, the power we have to shape our experience of love and to contribute to a more loving world.
It really is. And it reminds us that love doesn't just happen to us, we create it. It's this powerful force that we can tap into, nurture, and share with the world.
Couldn't agree more. So we've talked a lot about self-love, creating love with others, but what about this universal love the video mentions? How does that fit in?
Great question. And it takes our understanding of love to a whole other level. Universal love is bigger than just us. It's about feeling connected to everything, to nature, to the universe. It's a sense of oneness.
So it's like a more expansive kind of love.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that we're all connected and feeling like we belong to something bigger than ourselves. It's about breaking down those walls between us and others and experiencing true unity.
Wow, that sounds almost spiritual. How do we even tap into that?
It often starts with appreciation, seeing the beauty in nature, being grateful for the little things, being kind to everyone, even those who are difficult.
So it's about expanding our love beyond just ourselves and our close relationships to include the whole world with all its good and bad.
Exactly. It's about understanding that love isn't limited. The more we give, the more we have. And by tapping into this universal love, we make our own lives better and we create a more compassionate world for everyone.
This is inspiring. It's like by loving ourselves and extending that love outward, we become part of something much bigger than ourselves, something that connects us all.
You said it. It's about realizing that we're all connected in this web of life, and everything we do, even the small things, has an impact. And love, at its core, is the force that binds us all together.
Okay, so we've covered so much self-love, creating love in our relationships, this big universal love. It's a lot to process.
It is, but it's all connected. Love is this multifaceted, powerful force that affects every part of our lives.
Yeah.
And by understanding it and embracing it, we can create a more fulfilling experience for ourselves and for the world around us.
I totally agree. This has been such an eye-opening deep dive into love, and I've learned a ton. What about you?
Me too. And I hope it's given our listeners a sense of hope and possibility. That they can create a more loving world, starting with themselves and their relationships.
Definitely. And don't forget, the Awaken Your Potential YouTube channel has a bunch of great resources on personal growth. So if you're feeling inspired, check them out.
Yeah, they're awesome. A great resource for anyone who wants to grow and create a more fulfilling, love-filled life.
All right, we've covered a lot in this deep dive. But before we wrap up, I want to leave you with a final question. If love is something we create, not something we find, how could you cultivate more love in your life, starting right now?
That's the question, isn't it? The journey of love starts within each of us. And by embracing that, we can create a more compassionate, connected world. So what small act of love will you choose today?
Yeah, it really makes you think, like how can I actually make a difference?
Right. And it's not about these grand gestures either,
Exactly. Like even just those little things.
Yeah, just being kind, a sincere compliment, actually listening to someone. Those things add up, they create these ripples of connection.
And what I love about this whole creating love idea is that it takes the pressure off. It's not about finding the one anymore.
Totally. It's about working on ourselves, becoming our best selves. And then love just kind of flows naturally from that,
It really is freeing. It's like I'm already whole, I'm already worthy of love. And from there, I can be myself, connect with others in a real way.
That's it. And that's what Awaken Your Potential is all about, right? They give you these tools to grow and change.
And that personal growth, it's not just about self-improvement. It's about becoming more loving people,
Yeah.
to ourselves and others.
It all starts on the inside, right? Like taking care of our own inner world, then that love spills out into everything else.
It's like tending to a garden. First, you got to make sure the soil is healthy, fertile, then things can really grow. And as we talked about, that's not always easy.
No, it can be tough.
Yeah, well,
Love brings up all sorts of stuff. Sometimes it's messy, you get hurt.
it's true.
Yeah.
But when we know ourselves, when we're strong inside, we can handle those tough times better.
Exactly. Love's not just this end goal, like you reach it and you're done. It's an ongoing thing. It's a journey.
And sometimes that journey is hard. You hit bumps in the road.
Heartbreak, disappointment, all that. But if you believe in yourself, you come out stronger. On the other side, you can love even more deeply.
That's really powerful. So what about those people who are listening and maybe they're feeling lost or they don't believe in love anymore? What would you tell them?
I'd say start with yourself. Go inward. Explore all those different kinds of love we've been talking about. Start with your relationship with yourself. Be kind to yourself. Be compassionate, just like you would be with a good friend.
It's about remembering that you are worthy of love, just as you are.
Exactly. And then, try different things. Find what works for you. Meditation, journaling, being in nature, whatever helps you connect with yourself.
And don't be afraid to explore all those different kinds of love.
Yeah.
Romantic, platonic, self-love, even that big universal love.
Yeah, they all have something to offer, right? They all make life richer and more meaningful.
This whole conversation has been so eye-opening. It's like love is this complex, multifaceted thing.
Yeah.
And we've only just scratched the surface.
We have, but I think we've both learned a lot, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I hope our listeners are walking away with a new perspective on love. That it's not something to be found, but something to be created.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's in our hands, We can make our lives in the world more loving, starting today. Couldn't have said it better myself. So until next time, stay curious, keep your hearts open, and remember, you have the power to create a more loving world, one step at a time.